Recording this about a week after the games were over and then a week until the last one goes, you get that sense of the first weekend without football, and it's both that melancholy but also optimistic knowing what we're heading in for. Either way, the pool's kind of in that same boat. Going into last weekend, or the second to last obviously of the pool, there were so many teams that had a lot to look forward to. Now maybe not so much. Talk quickly about the games, then we'll get to our pool. We had one game that was, let's be honest, kind of boring. Came down to a few coaching decisions. Is that really what we want to see in a full football game? I mean, turns out when a blizzard's coming, take the points. When it's so blizzardy that you can barely see in front of you, maybe just have your quarterback run and then just punt and wait for the other team to screw up and throw you an interception on a really, really strategically good space. I don't know. Doesn't seem that tough, but seems to work. On the other end, we actually got a game that kind of wish was the Super Bowl, and I don't think I'm the only one. Not just because we're sick of talking about the Patriots or all that mess, but it was just a really well-played game. Few mistakes that kind of kicked in. You do make you think of like the flukiness of football. I know in other sports it's the same thing. Just had a tournament myself for a year end, and having a broken arm in the semifinals is never fun, and having 3 major injuries from the same position, not super. But there is that element of fluke when it comes to sports. So whether it is kind of the home away or whether or not it snows, but it is just funny with the NFL because everything is so epic being once a week. I mean, to be honest with you, sometimes I think it's horrible, and then other times I realize that's why I love gambling on it or playing fantasy sports. But coming into the Super Bowl, I think we kind of all have that feeling of that mixed melancholy. The league's almost over, and unfortunately for many of us, those are playoff pool teams. Let's get to that. When it comes down to the pool only being top 3, and I'm open to making it a top 4 next year, depending on the numbers that we get, it does make it interesting, and you always want to take a look. Obviously, the points are one thing, how many are behind, and then how many other players. For instance, Jake and Corbin won. He's going to notice Corbin won having JSN and Walker, so Seattle heavy, whereas, JSN is negated, doesn't have Walker, but has May, Diggs, and Travion, but he's got to pay attention to Corbin too, who's got some of those guys as well, plus also Walker. So Jake, he can go around and kind of hope that Corbin doesn't take 2 of the 3 prizes. Ben's hoping here with Corbin 1. Obviously, he's got 5, so he's looking pretty good. Realistically, I'm not going to go player by player and person by person on this. My suggestion is if you're in the top 6 or 7, take a look at the numbers, or even, going all the way down. I mean, our 8th place has 6, so I would take a look just to see who are the key players you want to pay attention to that the people above you do not have. On the quarterback front, I always like to see who had the best week and then who were maybe the best picks overall. Right now, Stafford's looking at a solid one, because even if you took Stafford and now he's out, if you had another NFC, or if you took Drake May and Stafford, now you could flip over and take Darnold for the end if you haven't already used that, and that would obviously be advantageous. I think Darnold and May do have a potential of jumping ahead and being the top dog. I mean, Darnold did have 31. If he does it again, he would just go over Stafford. Not a given necessarily, but he could. Either way, Stafford in the first couple rounds was clearly maybe possibly here could be a league winner. We'll see how that rolls. In terms of the running back position, it was really Walker and Williams. If you had both, you're laughing. Obviously, CMC was great, but just a little bit more reserved. And those who took Stevenson, there wasn't that many, but he was a clear choice out of New England. Now, I mean, hindsight's 2020. Because you start going down and the things really dropped off. Not quite as much as wide receiver, though. This one was kind of shocking. We've only had a couple big wide receiver performances, 2 of them from Nakua and 1 from JSN in last week. Obviously, you had Kirk as well with the 20-pointer, and some guys that just lasted around here getting 19 and 18. But overall, it's kind of going to break down. I mean, those are the 2 most popular wide receivers, so it's not a shock, but those who went for Adams, he finally at least had a week for you. We'll see if maybe the New England wide receivers can come up. It sure doesn't seem to be Diggs. Anyways, it really just kind of came down to a few key players and then the combos of when you added and dropped. Not that you need to already start strategizing for next year, or not that you remember it, but I always like to keep track of it just to see if there's anything I can pick up. And judging by my teams this year, maybe there's not. Feel free to check my math or just take a look. If you are around any of those top 3 spots and you want to see who's there, that's why the spreadsheet is there for you to kind of check each other's rosters. If you have not put in your 13th person, you might as well just take a gamble on something, do the math and see if you can figure out who would be the most advantageous for you. And if you're not in, then I don't know, there's a whole other bunch of Super Bowl parlays you could throw yourself into. But don't give up quite yet. Make sure and see if you have a shot. If not, hope you enjoyed it at least, and hope you at least watched the Super Bowl video. Good luck, everyone.